There were, after Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, as we know, Iblis, his mission was to misguide the human beings. This was his purpose, and this is what he was doing and planning. He was always thinking about only one thing: how to misguide the human beings. At the time of Shith alayhi salatu wasalam, he introduced a new type of sin to the people at the time of Shith alayhi salam. And he introduced a second type of sin to the qawm, to the tribe, to the people of Idris alayhi salatu wasalam. So inshallah, their stories are very similar and very brief. So inshallah, we'll talk about both of them today. First, we'll talk about Shith alayhi salam as he was before Idris alayhi salatu wasalam. Scholars mention that Shith alayhi salam was one of the children of Adam alayhi salam. So as we learned previously, Adam alayhi salam had about 20, Hawa alayhi salam had 20 births. Each birth had twins, so he had 40 children. So out of the 40, one of them was Shith alayhi salam. Shith means hibatullah, meaning Shith means a gift of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him a gift to the human beings, to the world. And of course, as all the prophets, they are a gift to us. They're a blessing for the human beings. It is mentioned in some narrations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Shith alayhi salam with 50 scriptures, 50 sahifas. There's a difference between a sahifa and a kitab. There are certain prophets that were given a kitab, a book, and certain ones were given scriptures. What is the difference? The scholars mentioned that kitab was something that was large, and sahifas, the scriptures, were short and small. So there were 4 major books: Zabur, Injil, Tawrat, and the Quran. And then there were different sahifas. Different prophets were given small scriptures. Ibrahim alayhi salam was given some, and different prophets. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave about 50 sahifas to Shith alayhi salatu wasalam. And if we look in the life of Shith alayhi salam, we find that his main target and the people that he worked on were the people from the group of Qabil. If you remember who Qabil was from the last session, Qabil was that son of Adam alayhi salam who killed his brother Habil. So Qabil was misguided. He was doing a lot of crimes, and he's the one that initiated the first killing in the mankind. So the group of Qabil were misguided group. Everyone that wanted to be commit sins and live that type of life, they would join the group of Qabil. So Qabil's group was the wrong group. That were the sinners, that were the fusaq of those times. So Shith alayhi salatu wasalam mainly worked on this group of Qabil, bringing them back to the straight path. The scholars mention that in those days, all the human beings of those times, there weren't too many, because it was just the time right after Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. So all the people, they were divided into two different groups. There was one group that was living in the mountains. Those were the good people, the pious people that were still on the straight path. And there was another group that was the group of Qabil. They used to live in the plain fields, open lands. So, and amazingly, the scholars mention that the men of the pious people, they were beautiful, they were good looking, and their women were not good looking. And Qabil's group was opposite. The women from Qabil's group were very beautiful, and their men were not. So now, Iblis, as we know that he is always thinking, he was always planning to misguide the people, he approached Qabil's group, and especially the woman in Qabil's group. And he introduced a type of sin to these women. And this is what I was referring to before, that there was 2 different types of sins Iblis is introducing at this time. One is, the first sin that he's introducing to the woman of Qabil's group was the sin of singing and of clothing, of dressing inappropriately, dressing in a way to attract other men towards him. So this was a type of sin that Iblis introduced to Qabil's woman. And some narrations mention that Iblis, he came in a form of a small boy. A small boy, he came in a form of a boy, and he approached the woman and he said, should I not sing a song for you? It will make you more happy. It will give you some fun time. And he introduced this sin of singing to them first. So these women said, yes, show us what is the singing. Singing was nothing, it was never introduced. It was never done before until this point. So these women said, yes, what is this singing? So Iblis started to sing, he came in the form of a young boy. And so he started singing, and these women started to love it. And they requested that, can you sing even more? And he would keep on singing for these women. Finally, they would set a special gathering for singing every single day now, because they were really attracted to the singing, they really loved it. To the extent that the scholars mention that they even find a specific day in every month, once a month, where they would have a large gathering, like a jalsa or an ijtima, a big gathering where everyone would get together and they would have a gathering of singing. And some scholars mention that it used to happen once every year. Anyways, it would happen once a month or once every year. This gathering of singing and women dressing up and dancing and those types of evil sins began at this point. And then Iblis, as he introduced the sin to Qabil's group, he approached the other group, the pious people's group. And he approached the men from that group. And he said that you are very beautiful people, looking good, and you women are not. So why don't you look at the women from the other group? Just look at them, see what you're missing out, So he introduced these women to those pious people from the other group. And they said, yes, sure, nothing wrong in just looking and seeing. Let's see what it is. We won't do anything. We'll go and see. So this is how Shaitan tricks the people. He just doesn't tell them that commit that sin. He just takes them step by step, one step at a time. So he says, just look at what is there. Look at how beautiful their women are. So when they came, their gathering was Qabil's group. They were having a gathering of singing and dancing and those things with women everywhere. So those men got attracted and they fell into the sin. And scholars mention that this is where the sin of zina began from. So this is, now if you notice, Shaitan, Iblis, he introduced one sin only, singing. Singing brought the women together, dressing inappropriately. Then it brought the other men there, and it opened the doors of many, many sins. This is why there's so much a lot of different sins and a lot of different punishments mentioned for singing. Singing is haram. It's not permissible. Nowadays we find even scholars today, some scholars who will say that singing is okay, there's nothing wrong. So this is clearly haram. Al-ghina'u yunbitu nifaq. Hadith mentions that singing builds nifaq in the heart. And what is this nifaq? Inna al-munafiqeen fi ad-dark al-asfal. The munafiqeen will have the lowest of the lowest part in Jahannam. They will have the worst punishment, the munafiqeen. And ghina, the singing, this builds a nifaq in the heart. So Iblis, he introduced the singing, and because he knew that singing, when a person falls in the sin of singing, it will automatically open many, many different doors of other sins. This is why scholars mention that the two worst sins or two worst fitnas, that out of all the different fitnas, the two worst ones are, number one, the wealth, the money. When a person has a lot of wealth, it leads him towards many different sins and fitnas. And the second worst fitna is the fitna of women. Anyways, these were the types of people Shith alayhi salatu wasalam was working on, and on the other side, Iblis is working on them also, taking them towards a sin, and Shith alayhi salam is working on them to bring them to the straight path. So they're both working on this group. So Shith alayhi salatu wasalam, it is mentioned that he even he worked on them so much for a long period of time, when he finally realized that these people are not turning towards the right path, they're not repenting, they're not doing tawbah. He even had a war, a jihad with those people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the victory to Shith alayhi salam. And he finally, everyone came back on the straight path. Soon later, Shith alayhi salam passed away. And again, like I mentioned, there isn't too much incidents mentioned about Shith alayhi salam. Of course, if we find the books of history, we will find a lot of things, but those are not reliable. They're just stories that people mention, but from the reliable sources, from the ahadith, from the Quran, we don't find too much mention of Shith alayhi salam and his life and his stories. So anyways, after Shith alayhi salam passed away, soon later, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent another prophet by the name of Idris alayhi salatu wassalam. And Idris alayhi salam, even he is mentioned very less in Quran al-Kareem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one place mentions, وَذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِدْرِيسَ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صِدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا, ordering Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that mention Idris alayhi salam in the book, recite about Idris alayhi salam in the kitab, in the Quran. إِنَّهُ كَانَ صِدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا, he was a truthful person and he was a prophet. Two qualities. إِنَّهُ كَانَ صِدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا, he was a truthful person and he was a prophet, which indicates to us that he is amongst the great prophets of Allah. As we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent about 124,000 prophets to this world. Out of all of them, only 25 are mentioned by name in Quran, and one of those 25 is Sayyidina Idris alayhi salam. So this just shows the level of Idris alayhi salam amongst other prophets, that he was one of the great Anbiya alayhi salam. In one hadith, it is mentioned that about the time of Idris alayhi salam, that all the creation at that time, all the human beings at that time, as many good deeds as they would do in one day, all together, Idris alayhi salam would do those many by himself. This is how great of a prophet he was, and thus how many good deeds and amal salih he was doing, that just one person's good deeds equals to all the people's good deeds put together. When the time of the death of Idris alayhi salam was coming near, sometime before, a little before he passed away, Iblis saw an opportunity to introduce a second type of sin. As we mentioned, the first type of sin that he introduced was the sin of singing, dancing, and the woman mixing and those things, zina and all of those. Second type of sin Iblis introduced was to the people of Idris alayhi salam, and this was the sin. Amazingly, how shaitan goes a step at a time, and this is where we can understand the tricks of shaitan. How he presents it as something good, and the person does not even feel that I'm going to do something wrong, I'm doing a sin. But that small step eventually takes a person very far, and shaitan plans it very well. So shaitan approached these people, and he said to these people that, there's a lot of pious people, there's a lot of prophets that came to this world, good people that came to this world. They're one by one, they're going away, they're passing away, and we forget about those people. So it would be a good idea, shaitan is giving this idea, it would be a good idea that we do something by which we can remember those pious people after they leave this world too. So he said that the best way to remember them after they pass away is, let's make a picture of those people. Let's draw a picture and just we'll keep that picture and just look at them. That way we remember that person that has passed away. And this is what they thought this was a good idea. Those Anbiya alayhi salam, those pious people, we should not forget about them. So let's make a picture so that we can look at them and remember them every day. And this is what they did, and they began to draw pictures, tasweer, of those pious people and Anbiya alayhi salam, and they would hang those pictures in their places of worship. And this is all they did at this time. Eventually, we know where this led to. They just made a picture. Soon later, a generation comes after. People come afterwards. They say, oh, this is a picture of that prophet. He's a very respected person. Let's kiss him. Let's bow down to him. And they started doing different things. Finally, they said, oh, why just a picture? They started making idols and idol worshipping. So Shaitan planned, see how he started it. Something very smart and something that seems like it's a very good idea. That we need to remember those Anbiya alayhi salam. And how this led to idol worshipping and of shirk. Making people, turning away people from Islam, from the straight path. So anyways, this was the type of sin that was introduced during the time of Idris alayhi salatu wasalam. And like I mentioned, this was at the very end time of Idris alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran al-Kareem about Idris alayhi salam. He says, وَرَفَعْنَاهُ مَكَانًا عَلِيًّا. We raised Idris alayhi salam to a high level. We raised him at a high level. What does this mean? The ahadith mention tafsir of this ayah, and that is that it's an incident that took place, that when the angels came to Idris alayhi salam and informed him that it is time for you to depart this world, your time of death is coming, Malikul Maut will come anytime soon, will take your soul and you'll pass away. So Idris alayhi salam said to one of those angels that he was very close to, as a friend that was from the angels, he said to that angel that, can you request the Malikul Maut if he can give me some more time to live in this dunya? So this angel said to Idris alayhi salam that it doesn't normally happen when the time of death is written for someone, the time cannot be moved around. But I can take you to the Malikul Maut directly and we can speak to him and request him directly. We can see what he has to say. So this angel carried Idris alayhi salam on his wings and he lifted him up to the heavens, first heaven, second, third, and fourth. Finally, when they reached the fourth heaven, they found Malikul Maut at that area, at the fourth heavens. So this angel said to Malikul Maut that I have a request, and that is that Idris alayhi salam, he is asking if you can delay his death. Give him some more time. So Malikul Maut said that, where is Idris alayhi salam? So this angel said, he is with me, he is right here. So Malikul Maut started laughing and he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent me down to take the soul of Idris alayhi salam on the fourth heaven, and I was wondering how am I going to take his soul over here, and he's on the ground. So you brought him, and now I understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was telling me. So then Idris alayhi salam, the Malikul Maut said to Idris alayhi salam that the rule of Allah is that when the time of death is written, it cannot be moved around, and thereafter the Malikul Maut took the ruh of Idris alayhi salam and he passed away at the fourth heaven. So this is what it means, وَرَفَعْنَاهُ مَكَانًا عَلِيًّا. We raised him at the fourth heavens, at the high level. So he lived there, he passed away there, and he's still there. This is why in the incident of Mi'raj, Isra and Mi'raj, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he traveled from Mecca to Baytul Maqdis and then to the heavens. When he reached the fourth heavens, this is where he met Idris alayhi salam. Some scholars are of the opinion that Idris alayhi salam did not pass away. He's just living, just like Isa alayhi salam was lifted to the heavens and he's alive. Idris alayhi salam was lifted also and he has not passed away. But this is some scholars' opinion, majority of the scholars are of this opinion that no, he had passed away and he is not like Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam is still alive. He will even come down before the day of Qiyamah. But Idris alayhi salam will not come down. He has passed away. Anyways, this was the short stories about Idris alayhi salatu wasalam. And inshallah, next we'll start with the story about the next prophet, and that is Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. Inshallah, we'll start his next week. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.